Mike Kern here with Adam Emmenecker, another shoot around segment. And Adam, the league will enter Thursday's game with a 34 plus margin in non conference wins. And a lot of that's coming from the teams that were picked near the bottom of the league in the preseason. Let's touch on some of those performances. Let's start with Evansville. Evansville was picked 11th in the preseason poll. They are not an 11th place team performing.
No, not at all. I mean, they're sitting at 9-2, and when you look at the losses are at Missouri State in that little preamble of the league, those two games, and then just an absolute drubbing at BYU where the team didn't show up and didn't play well. But they're 9-2. I mean, for Coach David Ragland, has to be really excited about his group, and right now in the top 100 in the net, and they actually have a pretty good test coming up at Cincinnati on December 29th. But we've talked about them a little bit before. Humrick House and Toomey and Strawbridge, they do have a really good core and some kind of that athleticism and inside out balance. But really like what I'm seeing out of Evansville. And how about the team that you have picked 11th in the top 100 in the net? That is great to see. Big time moves by Coach David Ragland, helping get some energy in Evansville, Indiana.
Well, the teams at the top are also performing well. But let's stick with the teams that were also picked near the bottom. Southern Illinois, Xavier Johnson leading the nation in scoring. The Salukis coming off of a two-game losing streak with slight margins, but winning big tonight or last night at home. Talk about SIU and how they
Yeah.
perform.
Yeah. So preseason ninth out of 12 teams and also in the top 100 net. And that's even after dropping back-to-back games to Austin Peay and Wichita by a combined 3 points, by the way. But I mean, I think we talked about Xavier Johnson last time a little bit, leading scorer in the country and just what he's been able to do being a primary defender last year, on-ball guy, one of the biggest pests in the league, to somebody who's still that, and now bringing out a dynamicism on the offensive end, inside, outside, drawing fouls, leading scorer in the country. Number two, Zach Edey. He's a big guy. Xavier Johnson, a little bit smaller, has the edge, has been absolutely phenomenal this year.
Two other teams also picked low in the preseason poll that are performing high above expectations. UIC, Illinois State. Your thoughts on Ryan Pete's club at Illinois State, Luke Gocklich's club at UIC, who's leading the nation in blocks?
Yeah, I mean, what a turnaround for UIC. We were talking about Evansville and Coach Yaklich, preseason 10th out of 12. And think about their losses, right? So they're sitting at 7-4, 2-0, or yeah, 7-4 overall. Their losses at Cincinnati by 11. Cincinnati's 9-2 and pretty stinking good. And we just talked about their game coming up against Evansville. UNC Greensboro by 1, Illinois State by 5, and Green Bay by 2. Their wins, Middle Tennessee State and George Washington, they very well could go into conference play at 8-4 in the top 100, and the balanced attack they have with Rivera and Oconee. And you mentioned the athleticism on the defensive side. This team's playing with a lot of confidence. And contrast that with Illinois State as well. Preseason 8th out of 12. Their net ranking now hovering in like the 190 range or so. So they're a little bit lower, but the record's still pretty good. And when you think about it overall, off to their start 2-0 in the league, so sitting pretty in the Missouri Valley. Their losses at SLU, well, SLU has struggled recently, but that was a different Billiken team. The second game of the year at High Point by 2, they laid an egg at Wright State against a Norfolk State team who's pretty good actually, sitting at 8-5. I think it's the dynamic backcourt that gives this Illinois State team and Coach Ryan Peden a chance. Not only Dalton Banks as the facilitator who can also score at the Southern Illinois transfer, but I think Darius Burford and his continued growth and progression on the offensive end. I mean, they got all these teams. They kind of got some dudes, and they're fun to watch. And I think for the Redbirds sitting at 2-0 in the league, even though they're a little low in the net ranking, they have an opportunity to make some noise in the Valley.
Yeah, you talked about transfers, and we won't touch on it a lot tonight. We'll touch on it next time we get a chance. After some of these guys that have been two-time transfers have played a few more games, but we've got 3 or 4 schools that have had guys that have become immediately eligible with the NCAA transfer rule. That'll make an immediate impact and have made an immediate impact. But we'll visit that later on another segment. But we'll see how they progress throughout the rest of the December and early January segment.
Yeah, and one team that just, by the way they're playing, deserves a shout out every time. And one of the transfers, Aaron Gray, but Indiana State, 11-1 overall, really continue to impress. The balance, the unpredictability, the pace, and how about Robbie Avila, 18-14 in the game tonight slash last night. I mean, that guy's just unbelievable. Coach Church and that team playing well. But we're squaring up to have a pretty stinking fun conference season. We mentioned the Indiana State game at Michigan State, which should be fun to watch as well. Couple games to watch, but happy holidays to you, Mike. Can't wait to see more to come.
Yeah, me too. You mentioned the Indiana State. Their shooting percentage is off the chart. They shot 51% from the floor
Wow.
in their win against Tennessee State. Their shooting percentage for the year went down. And
Think about that.
One of the better shooting teams in league history.
Yeah.
And teams they are rated against did that before the shot clock era. So they are really an efficient, exciting team to watch. If you've not seen them play, watch them. They're really fun to watch.
Yeah, agree. Top 20, 15, 20-ish range in the net overall. So getting kind of that billing, and wouldn't be surprised for them to start taking up kind of the top 25 type standings. Their game against Michigan State at Michigan State on December 30th. That is going to be a big test for Coach Josh Schertz traveling on the road.
Big for the Sycamores, big for the league. We're excited about the December 30 matchup in East Lansing. And Adam, happy holidays to you. We'll talk to you soon.
Same to you. Thanks, Mike.
All right. Thank you.